Tikilluaritsi, welcome everybody here in the room and everyone watching online. My name is Arnakkuluk. I am the CEO of Katuaq, the culture house of Greenland. This week we are very happy to have a drum dancing festival going on in Katuaq, and after this week, next week, we'll have some drum dancers traveling in Greenland also. But right now we're gonna have a talk about drum dancing. It's gonna be with the 3 Inuit drum dancers. So welcome, and let's just start out with welcoming you. Thank you for wanting to being part of this. So if we could just start with you telling who you are. Sylvia?
I'm Sylvia Cloutier. I'm originally from Katuaq. I also spent over 20 years in Iqaluit, and right now I'm living in Montreal, Quebec. Yeah. Do you want me to talk about what I do? Okay. I'm a full-time artist. I sing, I dance, I create theater, and I'm also a musician. I've done a lot of collaborations with Inuit artists and artists all over the world, and it's very good to be here.
Very good to have you here.
My name is Keenan Carpenter. I am originally from Sax Harbor, Northwest Territories, and I reside in Iqaluit, and I'm a drum dancer from the western region of Canada, and I've been drumming since I was about 11 years old. So yeah, it's lots of fun, and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'm Nuka Alice. I am a drum dancer. I'm a mother. I'm an auntie. I'm ayaka, and I'm many things. But I'm here as a drum dancer. I come from Sisimiut, and I've been doing drum dance since 2009. And I didn't inherit any traditional songs. I learned from traditional songs, and now I write my own drum songs. I also sing traditional songs, and from the 1st of January, I became an independent artist. Yeah, full time.
Mm. So we're just gonna have a nice talk, an hour together, and talking about drum dancing from your personal perspectives. So this is not like you are the experts and have to know everything, but this is you as artists, drum dancers, and your stories that we'll love to hear, and thank you for sharing. Nuka Alice, you just mentioned inherited drum songs. Why did you mention that? Maybe for people who are not drum dancers, what does that mean?
Yeah, I didn't inherit any songs because I grew up here on the west coast of Greenland, where drum dancing has been forgotten. Or we were visiting the museum today, and our guide Randy told us that drum dancing hasn't disappeared from west coast of Greenland, but it has just been sleeping. And I'm one of them who are on the awakening. So I didn't inherit any songs. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, her great-grandmother didn't do drum dance. So I don't know what songs my ancestors have been singing. But I was so lucky to have teachers who could teach me traditional songs from Qaanaaq, from North Greenland, and also from East Greenland. But for me, I have deep respect for the traditional songs, and I know that some of the songs are sung only by the families. And for me, it became more a whole for me to write my own songs. All the songs belongs to Sila, and they're only coming here through me. So the songs doesn't even belong to me. They just come through me. The art within Sila.
What is Sila?
Sila is our our consciousness. It can also be the weather. So it is within. Maybe it's like a universal force that we interpret through our drum songs. Ella.
So when you said that you started drum dancing in 2009, right? How did you start?
There was an afternoon class organized by the municipality, and there was, if you had enough people signing in, you could start. And the first day you could sign in, I signed in, and then on the day where you're supposed to have enough people, I called in the morning to ask, are there enough to start a group? And there were too few. So I was calling around to my friends and people I knew could be interested in learning drum dances. And luckily, Facebook was new back then. I also wrote on Facebook, please call the municipality so we can start drum dancing. So at the end of the day, we were enough. So we started learning drum songs with Pauline Lomholt. So it was here in one of the elementary schools here in Nuuk where I started learning drum dances.
So you really wanted to learn it, and
Yeah. I really, really wanted to learn it because I've been hearing drum songs on the radio, and I've also been seeing it on the TV, and I've always been drawn to it. I've always felt some kind of it's like coming home when you listen to drum songs. That's how it has been to me. It's like coming home. There's something that is difficult to explain, a feeling of belonging to something that is more than just the physical being of me, that something is bigger and that I'm a part of it. And when Katuaq opened in '97, there was the first time I saw someone doing it live. And I was also very fascinated by it. It was Arnakkuluk with some children from Kulusuk, and they were singing traditional songs with their beats and the Arnakkuluk and the Galasli. So that was so beautiful. But there is something that made me really, really sad because I didn't understand what they were singing about. I didn't know the meaning of the drum songs. But I could feel that there was something more, but because maybe I'm from the west coast of Greenland, I didn't know what it meant. So there was a big sadness and longing to know more about drum dance. And that has always been what's been driving me. And now I'm here as a member of this panel. What an honor. Thank you for considering me as a drum dancer.
And Keenan, how did you started out saying that you began drum dancing when you were 11?
Yeah, I was 11 years old. My younger sister, she was a dancer before me. I found inspiration in watching her as a little kid, singing and dancing. And I found the inspiration, but I found it tough to like actually get into the groove and feel it. But my mom started bribing me with like candy and money, and she did a lot for me. And I watched the older men dance, and I always try to imitate what they were doing and trying to be just like them. And it was challenging, but eventually with a lot of practice, you could dance and you can sing, you can drum. I I was 11 years old. I was just, I don't know. It's been a really good experience, and like the journey up until now has been just really enjoyable and rewarding. The to see like new places, new faces, making new friends, new memories. It's just a really good experience altogether.
So how did you how did you learn it? Was there a group of drum dancers that met every Tuesday and then you joined in, or how
Yeah.
did it how did you do it?
Yeah, the group I drum danced with was the Inuit drummers and dancers,
Okay.
and there's about 30 to 40 people, and it's a real group setting. Everybody knows each other, and it's like a tight knit community, and we practiced like every Saturday at the hall there, the local hall, and I just started participating because my mom was like the driving force, like go go dance, and I basically just imitated what people were doing every Saturday until I got it. Yeah.
How about you, Sylvia? When did you begin to drum dance?
I would say the first time I saw drum dancing, because it doesn't come from my community.
In Katuaq?
In Katuaq, yeah. I never saw drum dancing in Katuaq. I knew it was a thing in Nunavut, but I was young then and didn't really travel to. Actually, I had been to one community in Nunavut when I was 15, and I went to Qaanaaq, Rankin Inlet, and I saw an elder drum for us. I was there as a youth exchange, actually coming from Montreal. And when I went there and I saw that, I was always a very rhythmic person, and I was always very musical, and I loved dance. And I was living in Montreal as a teenager away from home, so I was longing to be up north. And in 95, we were about 15 of us, Inuit youth or young adults, hired to do an Inuit fashion show in Toronto. And in our show, we incorporated cultural performance, and there were 2 drum dancers there. And both of them became my really good friend, but one of them in particular, Iqaluit, he and I and other Inuit formed a performance group. And so I learned how to drum with him. We all shared songs together. We also shared how to throat sing together. And that was the beginning of performance. And over the years, Panuli and I traveled all over the world together because Nunavut became a territory in 99. And Canada was very curious about those people that live up there in Nunavut. So we were living in Ottawa, and we ended up getting a lot of work as performers because people were curious about Inuit. And and through our traveling and through our rehearsing and performing, Panuli shared stories with me about how he learned from his grandfather, and he showed me movements that they imitate animals, and some songs too. Usually there's a singer and there's a drummer. So when you're traditionally the men would drum dance, and the woman, usually it's the wife, would sing his song, or the mother, or the females in the family. And we were young adults learning traditional songs, and we were kind of modern about it because we were also singing and drumming. Although Panuli wouldn't sing too much, he was kind of our main drum dancer, and he was so graceful and so beautiful, and he really inspired me, and we had a good friendship. And sadly, 13 years ago, he passed away. And I know that because I spent so much time with him, I know that he would want me to continue. And I never finished, I never stopped. But it just showed me the importance of how much, I mean, he wasn't old, and it was just an accident that he died. So it just showed me how fragile life is, and how much you can learn from a person, and how somebody can not physically be there in your life anymore, and whatever they taught you gets to be with you in your life. So when he danced, his hair would dance. He had long hair, and he was very graceful and very strong. And the way he danced, I would dance with him. My hair was not as long as his. He could almost do commercials with shampoo commercials. Like, he had really beautiful long hair. And we came here to Nuuk before and performed. Anyways, so we would dance together, and our hair would fly, and so I just continue dancing the way we dance together. And I often feel like, because the Iqaluit is like, if you translate it, it's like an instrument of heaven. Iqaluit is like the heavens, and Iqaluit is like the instrument. And perhaps everyone has their own connection and relationship with their drum. But I always feel like this is the space that I can dance with him. And also, I just feel really connected to myself. It's a sound that I just need to hear one boom, and my voice wakes up. So, yeah.
And you mentioned drums, so that's my key word for having the chance to ask you. Could you all like show me your drums? Because when you maybe if you haven't seen drum dancing, or you just seen some, you don't know. But actually, they're very different. Like you say Inuit drum dancing, but there are so many different kind of drum dance and so many different kind of drums. So if you could just like show me your drums one at a time and just tell me a bit about what kind of drum it is. Keenan, would you
Me?
start?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the drum from. We share the same style drum as a good majority of the Alaskans, and this is from the Canadian Arctic. This is you hit the rims, and the force from both sides makes the center hit, and it makes the loud noise. And we share a lot of similarities. It's made from like mainly driftwood, or like a hard good wood that you could get your hands on. Anything. This day and age, they're kind of modernized with the parachute. Inuit have always been innovative and found ways to make the best out of what we have, and it makes sense, because the traditional drums would take a little bit more like attention, a little bit more. It's easier to travel with these, and they're not like sensitive to temperatures and climate, and they're just a lot more easier to travel with. And the drum is like the instrument. It's really fun. It's healing. As soon as like she said, as soon as the drum starts, it's like something wakes up, and it's like a whole different person, but a better version of yourself in a way. You feel more happy, you feel more is the cue, I think. And you become very expressive when you start holding this thing, and it just feels really good. The sticks are also like thinner than um, the drums from the east, and yeah, and flexible. Should I hit it once? Hit it twice?
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Nuka, Alice, you have you just said that it's not so fragile when traveling. Yours is more fragile for weather conditions.
Yeah,
right? Nuka Alice?
my friend makes these for me. Like, I have two different. I have this, whose shape almost like a. I know. I have two drums. One who looks like the soul of a kamik. Ila. So dumasa. And this is more round. And both of them, they have antlers from reindeer. That's where I beat the drum. Because the wood, the more you hit on the wood, it tears. So you can get splinters. So I have reindeer antlers that I beat.
So are they like? Are they from a region or what?
No,
what
it's
do-
something my friend made for me with inspiration from the Iqaluit from Qaanaaq and Nuuk, and we've been looking at some pictures from the museum. So it's something we just tried.
So special made for you.
Yeah, special made for me, and this one has Inuit. It has a
A face.
it has a face. It has its own spirit. And it's my friend Iqaluit. He comes from South Greenland and lives in Sisimiut. He made these for me. He's always the one making drums for me.
Could you just try to like Keenan? He banged it 3 times or something. Could you just try so we can hear the difference?
No, if you beat on the wood, it sounds a little different. And here it's more. And mostly my Katuaq will go up and my drum will go down. So you use a lot of the muscles from your wrists. And the other one, the isi, the skin is made out of tuttu, but tuttu gets dry. So this one has some tears. So I'm gonna have a new isi soon. It's a little different.
Brilliant. How about you, Sylvia? What drums did you bring for this trip?
I brought 2 different sizes. This is one that I've used for many, many years. It's kind of, the fabric is tearing a little bit, but it still works great. And this is my oldest son, who's 24 now. When he was very small, I got him this one. And I didn't give it back to him. It's still, so this is a 22-year-old drum, and it sounds perfect. It's very good. I usually use this one because this one I can dance bigger movement. I use a lot of space when I dance. And so the rim, the beautiful thing about the Inuit drums is we all hit the rim. They're all different sizes. They're usually made with the tuttu, the caribou stomach. And we have different styles, different songs, different movements, but we all hit the rim. We never hit the membrane, except for you, because you don't hit the membrane, but your stick bends and hits the membrane on the heartbeat, right? So you can hit the drum like this, or you can, I'm a bit of a exaggerator, so I like big movement, and I hit it this way. and you move your whole body and you dance. You do a circle and you sway and you go down and you go up, and you imitate sometimes animals. So this rim used to be made out of driftwood. When a man was on his qaanaaq, he would find a piece of wood floating on the water, and he would put it on his qaanaaq, and he would bring it back to shore. And the wood was in water for so long, and it came from far away, that he was able to bend it into a circular form. And today, sometimes they soak them in uqsuk, in fat, to also make them able to make a circle. Drums were never made with a hammer or nail. It was always tied together with string. The string was always made with Iqaluit, with sinew from a caribou, the muscle of a caribou's back. And this is my Katuaq. I've been through many drums, but this has been my Panuli, and I used this stick from the beginning. And traditionally, it was either made out of, like Inuit are very resourceful, like Keenan was saying, either leftover wood, antler, or bone. And the skin was often made with either iviq, walrus, or udjuk, bearded seal, because it's a thicker leather than seal or other skins. So if it was too thin and you hit the wood, it would crack. And that's why when you play, you have to move your body. You don't hit it. You play with it. You dance with it. And that's why it doesn't crack if you move. But if you're stiff and you hit it, it's going to start to break. Yeah.
So all of you have been like you're from Canada, you've been to Greenland. Sylvia's been many times in Greenland. We just talked about Nuka. You have also been in Canada and seen drum dances. What are the differences? What are the similarities and differences between Canadian and Greenlandic drum dancing?
What I see from the difference from Greenland to Nunavut and western part of Canada is that they are very strong because there are many who sing together. There are many who knows the songs, the elders, the children, the young ones. There are many people singing songs together. And I truly admire that because people, it is something that is normal for people over there. That's how I see it. Because when somebody starts singing, there will always be many people singing from the performers, and there will always be someone from the audience who will sing along. So you are very strong in having your traditional drum dance songs, and you are very strong in sharing them. Because here we are individual drum dancers. We, like when I perform, I mostly perform alone. But I've also, drum dancers, when we are people here, we fight each other and we talk about that we have been doing some drum dance. And sometimes we would gather and sing songs together. And that's where it becomes even more powerful, more empowering. And but when we perform, like when somebody hires us to perform, we mostly do it alone. Because drum dancing is not that normal as in Nunavut, I think, and Canada. And we have smaller drums, and our dancing is more like you stand alone, dancing up and forward and sanimut. Not so much movement as the dancers in Canada, where they do all of that. We don't make such big movements. I think here in Greenland, it's more inwards somehow. Like you go into yourself, where in Canada it's more going out. Ila. That's what I think. And our drums are smaller, and so. But I think the similarities are that every drum song has a meaning. That it has a meaning and it has a purpose. It has a story to tell, and it's the same with drum dances from Iqaluit Nuuk. They all have purposes, and I think you are very aware of the stories over there, and maybe here in Greenland, not so many know about the stories behind the drum songs. But there are luckily becoming more and more thanks to arrangements like this.
I remember, Sylvia, I remember you once also when you had a workshop here in, at the Iqaluit Festival, actually. You had a workshop and you also talked about and explained some of the differences in movement. Could you, like,
Yeah.
you do the, I remember you saying, like, you usually do this more in Greenland and in Canada we do it more like this.
Well, we have. It wasn't always like that. It wasn't always strong because missionaries had banned our musical traditions. So drum dancing was banned, and also throat singing was banned. Our spirituality was banned. And also my mother's generation were sent away to residential school, so that generation didn't learn about our cultural traditions. But my generation were very keen and interested, and not everybody, but a lot of us young people wanted to learn our traditions. So we were able to go to our grandparents' generation and ask and learn from them, because they were children when they were told not to do those musical traditions, but they did them anyway. They just didn't proudly perform them until they felt comfortable. So the revival of these songs and dances came more from the connection we had with our elders. And now our elders are, most of them who have shared this knowledge with us, like all the elders who taught me how to throat sing are gone now. And so I'm the oldest generation of traditional singers in my region. And drum dancing wasn't very active in Nunavik, but when I moved to Nunavut, I saw a resurgence similar to what I saw with throat singing. And there was this man, David Tasiilaq, who was a teacher in Iqaluit and a principal, and he was from Iqaluit, where he learned drum dancing as a child. And he taught all his students at the school, all the little kids that were growing up, how to drum dance. So all these kids started to drum dance around the same time that I'd moved there. And now it's normal, to see young people drumming and singing. But it wasn't when I was a child. And being so lucky as being an artist of this time and traveling to Greenland and Alaska and, even in Northwest Territories, Nuuk, and I haven't been to Russia, but I've performed at festivals and met Inuit Russian, and it's so fun to learn from each other, and we see how many things we have in common. So when I'm dancing, I imitate the sound. I imitate the movement of animals that you see too, and that you see too, and Alaskans see too, and we hunt the same animals, and we have the same affection for our environment. So we sing about hardships, we sing about happiness, about being grateful, about being afraid. We sing songs that are in old language that is not used today, but we have it in a song form, and we never had a writing system, so all of our traditions were carried within our bodies, and they made it here. And they're going to continue because there's other generations after us. So I would say the thing that we have the most in common is our love for the environment and our relationship for the environment. And that comes through in all the things that we perform in or create.
So what kind of animals, like for people who haven't seen drum dancing or who haven't doesn't know a lot, what kind of animals would you perform or dances?
Nano, Duluga, so polar bear, raven, fox, caribou. Songs are like seagull, geese, even tools that we use. I know that there are also dances like chopping wood.
Physical activities and stuff that would keep you mentally fit and physically fit to take on the environment around you. And as much as it was for fun, it was for exercise for your mind and your body. And it was like really grounding. And it we celebrated, I think, in the dark times, from what I know. We celebrated towards the ends of dark times, so like around Easter, Christmas, or like any special occasion, really. And everybody would gather from far. They'd leave their camps just to meet in one area. And it was an annual thing. It's like she said, it wasn't always strong. It skipped a generation in my area also, almost nearly two. I watched my sister dance, and then I started dancing, and then my mother started dancing after me. So it was a train in the opposite direction. So it was really lucky to have the people and like the peers around me that supported the culture and supported my decision to go forward with pursuing myself, my people, and it's just really good to be happy with who I am and who we are as people, and it's just really, it's honestly a really good feeling. Yeah.
So what does drum dancing mean to you when you personally?
Well, to me, it means that the next generation gets a chance, and the generation maybe below that gets to see. So like the very future generations get to see what I seen as a kid. I've always been around it, but I wasn't like drawn to it. But I wanna spread the message that you should be proud of who you are, no matter where you're from. You should just be proud, and you have a voice, you have a body, you have energy that's inside you. You take on like a namesake, like you're named after somebody, and you take on their personal traits, and that person loved to dance. And I was named after someone who loved to dance, and I'm very grateful for that.
Like when I do drum dance, it's not about me doing the drum dance. It's me being an instrument for the drum song, because that's what's important. It's about the song, it's about the story of the song, and it's about all the things that is behind the song. I will just be an instrument for that song, or that's what I try to achieve. That I forget my ego, or try to leave my ego behind and just give myself completely to the song. And if I can achieve that, then you get this feeling of being a part of something bigger than you. Because the individual is never the most important, but what we have together, what connects us, is what's important. So, and I feel on a personal level, as a person, as Nuka Alice, what I feel is that it's like I get more like a whole person. Like I feel stronger in my spirit during drum dance. I feel like I can achieve more, um, and I can see in others when they start to learn to do drum dance that they become more. So, I don't know the English word, but you can carry yourself more. You can
Stronger.
yeah, you become a stronger person, and you can go, you can endure hardships more, because when you do drum dance you can make yourself stronger on a mental level, mental and spiritual level, or that's how it is for me at least. And sometimes I can see on other drum dancers that they're feeling what exactly that. And when that happens, it's so beautiful. Like, it's something that you can, the more you do drum dance, the easier access you get to that.
Sylvia, yesterday when we had like a seminar with the, you had a seminar, the drum dancers. You talked also, you Keen, but you talked about the connection with the language that and drum dancing. Could you tell me your story or how you experienced that?
I was I'm a child from a Inuk mother and from a French Canadian father, and so I lived with my two cultures my entire life. And when I was between 8 years old and 18 years old, I was living in Montreal because my parents had jobs there. And as an adult, I went up north because I really felt like I was far away during my childhood in the South. And I used music and dance to inspire me to learn Inuktitut. Inuktitut that I had lost when I was young and felt like I wasn't growing because Inuktitut was not around me in my environment anymore. But I always remained a good connection with my family in the north because I traveled three times a year to go see them. And there was a point where I didn't want to feel like my lack of speaking Inuktitut, I didn't want it to be a handicap. I wanted it to be a motivator. And so I told myself as a young adult that I was gonna, that it wasn't too late, that I was gonna go north and pursue my passion. And I'm really glad I did because our language is part of our identity. And some of us didn't learn our mother tongue. Some of us learned a little bit. Some of us learned at a young age. So when you're a young person and you feel like you want to connect with your roots and your culture, I found music and dance to be the way to do that. And I think a lot of young people, I recognize that in a lot of young people in the community. And that's why I spent so many years working with youth in that same way. And I really wanted my sons to grow up like this is normal, because there was so much fear and shame casted upon Inuit of my grandmother's generation and her mother's generation. And I wasn't attached to that fear or that shame. I knew it was there, but I wasn't attached to it because I never had a missionary tell me not to believe in my beliefs or do that. So I wanted to get in there and learn those songs, and I gravitated towards people who were willing to share. And then because it's part of our culture, I know my role is to pass on what I learned because they don't belong to me. It's true, the songs don't belong to me. perhaps the songs that I created belong to me, but it only feels better when you share them. So you keep the cycle going. And that's how traditions also start. So in 100 years from now, there'll be your great-grandchildren here will be singing Nuka Alice's song, and it'll be a traditional song.
Yeah.
So that's
And
how...
they'll tell the story of Nuka Alice, the big drum
Yeah.
dancer.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can create such powerful songs.
Already did.
And Keenan, you also, with the drum dancing as a way of, way to your culture. You talked about that yesterday also.
Yeah, the language and whatnot, the lifestyle was it was challenging to actually be an Inuvialuk person. The residential schools and you could say the government was trying to kill off the people in the area and colonize everybody and get them speaking one language. And as a kid, I was curious to like who we are, how do we talk, and I could hear. I'd always ask my Qaanaaq if she could speak to me in Inuvialuk, but there was a gap in between because my mom doesn't speak, but I was lucky enough to spend so much time with my Qaanaaq that I grew like a real appreciation for like the language, the people, the lifestyle, and she made me appreciate myself. And honestly, it's been really challenging, but it's been so rewarding to actually put myself into challenging situations where I have to explain who I am and why I'm here. And it's worth it because someone's got to do it. Yeah.
I can really relate to this. That, like, when my oldest son, he was finishing his stay at a school, and I was gonna go to visit him because he was
like
gonna get a
graduation?
diploma, for graduation diploma. And my son grew up with me being a drum dancer, so for him, it's normal that the drum is a part of the ceremony. So he asked me, "Can you bring your drum?" I was like, "Of course."
It was in Denmark, right?
It was in Denmark, but it wasn't normal for me. But it is normal for my son. And I hope that he will keep the tradition, so his children, for them, it will be normal. Because if it doesn't start somewhere, it never becomes a part of an everyday life. Because I've experienced within myself that sometimes I have felt unworthy of using the drum because it doesn't really belong to me, that feeling I had. But once you just let go of everything and just begin to just honor the song, then your ego thoughts doesn't matter. You just become a part of the song, a part of the story. So we have some work to do still, but we are doing them. And I hope many people will feel that they can also be a part of that.
And that expressing yourself is natural. It's normal. And our people were told not to express themselves. And so it feels like relieving that we can, open it up to express ourselves the way we're meant to express ourselves now. That's what I see in you.
And I in you.
Nej.
And you, Keenan.
So now we're here having this event, and this is part of Katuarpalaaq. And you've all been to different kinds of events, different places with drum dancing as the center. what does it like? What does it give you to be part of an event or like this as a drum dancer for you?
I think it's so important for Inuit to gather in a kind of circle this way. Um, you know, I've been doing this for about 25 years, and most of the sometimes there's festivals where we're invited, but a lot of times we wait for the ICC conference to see each other.
Exactly.
So it's really nice that we're here and that we if we can make more of an effort to create these kind of circles where we're performing, we're learning from each other, we're sharing, we're getting to know each other, we're forming friendships, and we're creating. Because we end up sharing with all of you after, and it helps us. It helps us pass the skill to the next generation too. But also, we're working artists, and for us to be invited to Inuit Nunangat is even more meaningful. And what's very inspiring for me as an Inuk artist from Nunavik and Nunavut, I have one foot in Nunavik, one foot in Nunavut, to come here and see this building, Katuaq. I lived in Iqaluit for 23 years working as a full-time artist where we had no theater, and we still have no theater. And Iqaluit is the capital of Nunavut. Nunavut is the only territory in all of Canada without a performing arts center and without a cultural center. And that makes no sense to me and to all of us. So when we have a space where we can celebrate life, you know, sometimes our governments are very quick to build a new jail, build a new office building, build a new, all kinds of buildings. But if we can create a space, a building dedicated to celebrating life, that could reduce the suicide rate, the high suicide rate that we have. It gives young people a stronger sense of self when they know where they come from, where, you know, because this is what's happening to us. So I really hope that things change. And this is what we recognize in ourselves when we work together. So I hope we're at the age now where we're going to become the boss. And I hope that the next generation, you know, of 20-year-olds, when they become the boss, they're going to build those theaters and those spaces that we need. And also reclaim spaces that we also need to reclaim. There are many churches in Canada that are not as active as they used to be, so they're creating space for artists to work in and share the space. So I think we can do more of that too.
Mm. Keenan, how is it for you to participate in an event like this, meeting other drummers?
No, it's a privilege and the opportunity. It's like she said, we wait annually for, or like every few years for ICC to happen, and we're so excited for it to come around. And like, it's honestly really good to be here, and it's been nothing but welcoming people. They've all been so nice. You guys are great. The hospitality is like next level. It's so good here. The food, everything is just, it's so good here.
Always the food, right, Sylvia? Yeah, we always talk
Keenan
about
and I sat beside each other on our the first meal, and we said, "Let's get messy." So nice to have food from our land and sea here.
Mm.
Yeah, it's honestly, the opportunity to be here it's great. I gotta thank Iqaluit for making something like this happen. I gotta thank Sylvia for making stuff happen. I gotta thank the Inuvik drummers and dancers for giving me a sense of belonging.
Mm.
I have a sense of community, and the communities that I feel like we're building now and as a people. And yeah, it really, it's like, I want to make the older people happy. I want to inspire the youth, and traveling in places like this is something that will catch the eyes of the little ones and the elderly. And I just want to see the old people smile, and I want to see the young people smile even harder. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Nuka, Alice, what do you wish for? Like, now we are here. What are your dreams for, like, drum dancing?
What I have seen from now, is that we get to meet like someone like Keenan and all the youngsters from Nunavut and Nunavik. You see how they are carrying themselves doing drum dance, and they're just. It's just like it's a part of them. It's a natural part of them, and that's really nice to see. And we have conversations, and we learn from each other. And what I've learned that we can use here in Greenland is that they already had a conversation of which songs are to be shared and which songs are not to be shared. And that's something we need to have here in Greenland. Which songs can we share and which songs can only be sung by the owners, like the families? Because we never had that conversation here. Because it's still very, it's not community-based. And it's very inspiring to see how community-based it is from your area. So that's something I get inspired by. And hopefully we can have that conversation here in Greenland. And I really want to share my songs. I'll teach you some of my songs.
So, what are your songs about? When you make a song, like we heard that some of the older drum songs are something with hunting and animals, and you make these. But like, what are your? We're in 2022. What do you make drum songs about?
I have a few Iqaluit, love songs for children, because that's very easy. Easy for me because I grew up with a lot of Iqaluit. I have many Iqaluit, so it's very easy, not natural and easy for me to make an Iqaluit. But I also made a song about an opening of something, an opening of I made an opening song for Arctic Sounds, and it's an opening song that could be used for other things, other projects. Also made a song about Iqaluit. The two stars who takes the sun back up. And like, you have that story too? Yeah. I made a song about that, and I made a song about... I've also made songs with others. Like I teach at the Knorasmus in the Poiskolia, where it's very important for me as a teacher that they write their own song. And with them we've been doing an Iqaluit, and we also wrote a song of the autumn, which has two meanings, because in the autumn all the birds, they gather and they leave us. But here in our life, our elders who gave us a lot of Iqaluit, who gave us a lot of love, and when they get older, they also gather in their elder homes with the way we are arranged in society now, and from there they leave us. So it has a double meaning. So it's an appreciation of the elders too, and other songs too.
Yeah. But it's really inspiring to hear you all. Thank you so much for sharing, and I hope that a lot of people will see this and get inspired also, maybe to grab a drum or go watch some drum dancing. Qaanaaq. Thank you very much. Qaanaaq.
Are you? And I want to invite everyone for a Nordic company. It's just over there.
Oh, yay.
And then there will be something happening afterwards. So
I
please
forgot
take
to
some
say how much
coffee
I
and
love
some
the
cake.
And there's such good cake here.